This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by unbeaten welterweight contender Vergil Ortiz Jr. Vergil, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm very good, thank you. Big fight, latest in a long line of big fights for you coming up March 19 against Michael McKinson. First of all, when this fight was first put to you, how aware were you of who Michael McKinson is and what he brings to the table?
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really familiar with him. When I heard his name, I had heard it before. I think I had seen it on a ranking, but I looked at some of his fights and I saw, got familiar with him.
And what did you make of him when you did your research?
He's a tricky, crafty fighter. He's trying to confuse you, trying to get you out your game.
And you've had kind of some bigger name opponents in the last couple of fights, it's fair to say, and you've been linked many times with Terence Crawford, of course, the WBO champion. How does it affect your mindset, if at all, going in against someone who is obviously hungry to win, but someone that the general public in the US may not know so well?
It's how do I answer this? It's like going against a hungry fighter. That just knowing that he wants it bad makes me want it bad even more. It makes me aware of how important this fight is. And I'm just training as hard as I ever have.
And you're the top two available contenders right now with the WBO. I think that anyone who's rated either above either of you is otherwise engaged. Have you been kind of told by your team or anyone connected with the fight that this will be your last one before that world title shot?
No one's told me anything like that. And I know I'm pretty sure that this won't be my last one. I'm pretty sure I still have some steps to go.
Is that from your own point of view? Do you feel you need to progress more and develop in certain areas, or would you be ready for a fight with the likes of Terence Crawford if it was offered to you next?
I think that I could need like maybe another step I know that I have a possibility to win, but I would like to give myself the best chance.
And you have talked about fighting Crawford in the past. He's not someone that a lot of welterweights have targeted. Some have even called him avoided. Why is it that you want him? Why is it that you're focusing at least partly on him rather than, looking the other way like a lot of others have?
He's just a good fighter. I'm not gonna gas him up or anything, but I want to fight, the best people in the division, and those two people, or they're the only ones with the world titles. I want to fight the people with the world titles. We got Spence and Crawford.
There's been a lot of attention in the last few months on your training setup. Let's start, first of all, with you were formerly working with Robert Garcia, of course, in California. Just tell us why that relationship came to an end.
It's nothing personal or anything like that. It's just business. We felt like it was best for us to go somewhere else.
And how close were you to linking up with Eddie Reynoso for this fight? I know it was reported that schedules didn't really align, but is that something that you were close to doing, and would you revisit it in the future?
I really don't know. All I know is that it didn't work out, and that we just had to go somewhere else. That's really all I know at this point. And I'm not really focused on that right now. We're just focused on the fight.
Now, your father's going to head up your training for this one with the help of Manny Robles, very experienced trainer as well. What's the relationship like in the ring and in the gym between yourself and your father?
Obviously my dad's been there all my life. So he's probably the one guy in the world that has my back. So he knows me inside the ring, outside the ring, like no one else. And I'm glad that I have him behind my back the whole time.
And the fact that you've worked with people like Garcia before, Robles this time, potentially Reynoso, is that an indication that your father believes he needs someone else on board to kind of take you to that top level?
I think that my dad could possibly, I know that he can do it himself. It's just, there's nothing wrong with getting help.
No, I agree completely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big buzz about you, particularly in the US, but I think it's crossed over here as well. Why do you think that is? Is it just your fighting style, or is it more how you cross over outside the ring?
Well, I definitely have barely done any interviews in the UK, so I would have to say it's the fighting style for right now.
Yeah. Well, maybe this will increase your fan base even more. I looked at an interview you did earlier, a written interview, where you were talking about some of your inspirations. You were talking about Jose Ramirez and how he gives back to the community, not just what he's achieved in the ring. How much is that important to you, being a figure outside the ring, someone who can influence people, influence change, that kind of thing?
It's very important because if you think about it, boxers are just people who fight other people. I want to be known for more than that, you know. I want to be able to say that I help people, that I, you know, give someone to look up to, you know, these little kids, you know. They put a mural in front of my high school, my old high school. I'm not in high school no more. My old high school, and I just hope that, you know, the students there or kids passing by can look at it and be motivated and want to do something or something, you know.
Who were those kind of influential figures for you when you were a kid?
I didn't have too many. I'm not gonna lie. You know, my dad. You know, he's probably the hardest worker that I know. That's in my family and in my life period. You know, he's made a lot of sacrifices just for me to get here. That's really all I can say. You know, I can say I've had favorite fighters, but you know, I'm just looking at them fight. Plus, I'm a little kid. I don't really know that much, but
Sure.
I would just have to say my dad.
Now, I believe you first started doing some boxing at the age of 5. Just tell us how that began.
Yeah. So my dad, after kindergarten one day, my dad just took me to a gym, and you know, I went into the gym, and you know, everyone's hitting a bag. It was a Monday. Everyone's hitting the bag, and I'm like, you know, it's just a little kid to me. It looks kind of boring. You know, it's whatever. So then he took me again the next day, and it was sparring day. And you know, I just see people in the ring fighting each other, and I just thought it was really cool, you know. And I asked my dad, "Hey, can I go? Can I try it?" And he said, "You want to try?" I'm like, "Yeah." So they just put me in there. You know, I had no experience or whatever, but they put me in there. And they said I did really good, and I stayed in it ever since.
What made you stick at it? Because a lot of fighters, even the talented ones, get involved at a young age, and then it gets to your teenage years, a lot of other distractions, not just the things you hear about, but also other sports and things like that. What kept you boxing?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was just really good at it. I think my dad continued to take me every day. You know, we were really consistent with it, and it just became a way of life. You know, it's not. I don't ever remember saying, "Yeah, I want to do it." You know, it just came naturally.
And you were an excellent amateur, great record, many, many national titles. Why did you decide to turn pro at quite a young age and not hang around for an Olympic cycle?
Oh, because I just missed it by like a month or 2 months or 3 months or something like that. Because my birthday's in March. I was turning the Olympics were in 2016. I was turning 18 that year. You had to be 19. So I was like, I'm not gonna wait another 4 years, and it ended up being 5.
5 years,
You know?
yeah.
So I wasn't gonna do that. I just felt like it would have been a waste of time. So we just went ahead and turned pro.
And you said you haven't done a lot of interviews in the UK before. So for people out there in this country specifically that haven't seen you fight in the past, how would you describe your style in the ring?
I feel like I'm one of the most exciting fighters today. That's honestly my goal, you know, because in my opinion, I don't really like watching boring fights. So I'm not going to be in one.
What do you expect to do against Michael McKinson on March the 19th?
You know, I want to win, and I want to do so in an orderly fashion. I want to look good doing it, you know, and just show the world that show them why I'm one of the best.
Brilliant. Really, really appreciate your time. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you in action on the 19th.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.